Hey guys, did you know that the Iowa Heartlanders are going to suspend operations after the season? No? Well, you do now. You've been bringing it up from time to time, and now we get to go through their final home game before such a thing occurs. That's basically why we're here. We're here for a fare thee well of sorts. Quite the fare thee well at that. I don't know how much of a delay there's going to be, or if my bad volume is being picked up. I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. I'm trying out this R Night infield game on there. I'm trying that out right now. See if I like it or not. But in the meantime, we're actually getting down to the wire here in the Central. As you can see, I was far out of it. But the Bison are fourth place in the Central. This is the only division, the ECHL, to not have a single playoff spot. Actually, no, they have half of the teams we get in, but they still have two spots up for grabs. It's down to let me try to take a look here. So right now it's 75 points to clinch. The Fuel are in third. The magic elimination number for the Bison is 6 for that fourth place spot. The Wings is 5. The Cyclones is 4. So this final week, so these final makeup games are gonna determine who gets those last two spots in the playoffs. And it is official that and the Pirates are going to face the Everblades in the first round. So unfortunately, that means I'll have to cover the Everblades when I do these streams. I'll figure out a way to manage that stuff. It ain't easy to do, okay? But this is the final home game of the season for the Iowa Heartlanders. They're not the worst team in the league, by the way. It's actually held by the Gargoyles. And woof. That is quite the way to go for the Gargoyles. In fact, yeah, by a pretty big margin. Oh yeah, the Heartlanders can still play spoiler and ruin the chances for the Bison. That's right. They're playing spoiler. They can play spoiler. Just be interesting. It's just been interesting. So the game is about to start. Well, not yet, but it'll soon be. This is our first time covering a team in the Central, and we might do so depending on who the defending champ is. Now, the Centrals are the only division I could realistically cover a team in a different time zone for. So what I'm thinking of, but as I said, the only the only team that I have confirmed from the ECHL to be covering this next season is gonna be the Trenton Ironhawks, because the Grizzlies are gonna be moving as soon as their final game of the season ends. They're gonna become the Trenton Ironhawks, which is a pretty cool name. We'll be seeing how their inaugural tour goes. They're still an established franchise, but it'd be their first season in Trenton, New Jersey. That's why I'm calling it an inaugural tour. New location, and we'll see if there's gonna end up being a new staff or not. But what Candy fan out of all this is that what I'm probably gonna do is, but we'll see who the Kelly Cup champ is at after the season. Depending on who it is, I made I may cover them, or I may decide to cover a team from the Central. I am not going to cover the Ghost Pirates again. But anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna miss the Heartlanders. I thought they may have had. I thought that despite all the woes, they might have had something going, but I guess the whole Deacon thing proved. I guess despite being bought away from Deacon, it proved to be too much to handle for the Heartlanders. There must have been some sort of existing debt going on that led to this. Because it can't be anything to do with the CBA. It has to be something to do with the death that was occurring during the realms of Deacon. That's the only explanation I got. But let's actually get into who's actually starting in at net. For the Bison, it's Dryden McKay. And for the Heartlanders, it's Jace Wutsky. So McKay and Wutsky are going to be in at net. So we'll see how this final home game for them goes. I'm trying to be careful with some of this here. But this is the first time I've strictly covered a Central team. Strictly covered a Central. Will I ever strictly cover the Mountain? Probably not. Whenever they're in the East or playing against the East or the Central, maybe. Yeah, the game's about to get underway here, folks. But yeah, puck is underway. I have to try and bounce back and forth. But yeah, this is apparently a double ref night. But we'll be keeping track. At least I'll be trying to keep track as I get through this art nights game. I think it's R nights. Nice, but main question is, will the Heartlanders play spoiler and ruin some dreams? This is the time to do it, you know. But the good news for the Gargoyles, we got one more game to go for them. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting game to see. As we got ourselves a penalty right off the gate. It's a penalty to the Bison. It's a tripping call for Sung Jae Lee. I'm sure I mispronounced it, but you gotta remember, there's all kinds of different players that end up in hockey. I don't know if that Capitals did get eliminated, but I don't know if Ovechkin is going to be back in the AHL for one last run, or if that was it. He's played all 82 games this season. And I don't know if he'll actually stick around for another year in the NHL. I think as soon as it's over, they're going to basically, if I'm mistaken, after the season, whenever he decides to move on to officially call it a career, he's gonna go back to the KHL. So I think that's what's gonna happen. And we got ourselves a scoreboard that doesn't display the penalty. Lovely. At least I know when the penalty started. Bison looking to try to advance forward. That's a save from Lutsky. It's been all kinds of things that went on with the Heartlanders. And yeah, it's pretty much over for the penalty. No capitalization. It's been over. Oh yeah, that's right. The whole tornado thing. That could have happened. It's never out of season for tornadoes over there. I would hate to end up in a tornado or a hurricane for that matter, with it being Florida. But Definitely been some shots made. I'm trying. It's not easy trying to bounce back and forth like this, okay? And they're just talking about thunderstorms and weather issues. One thing I do like about those Heartlanders jerseys, they just they display the Iowa State flag on the patches. You don't see that often with the ECHL uniforms or uniforms in general. Yeah, the commentators are having a little bit of a laugh right now. I get they're not even talking about the game right now. They're oh yeah, Bluey Night. I remember Bluey Night being a thing for us. That was last year. Mm, that was at the end of the season. We still made the playoffs. And no, seems like whoever is supposed to be operating, it was no dice there. They're gonna call me a timeout. I think someone with the app is kind of messed up on the timer. There's 13:17 on the clock. But you know it's crazy how okay, hey, the timer is trying to get back on track here. Yeah, I think they're trying to fix up the time a little bit on the app itself, but we're back on track now over here. Yeah, I think they fixed the time thing on the app now. Breakaway! No! There was pressure from behind and it didn't work. Guess going for the pass and not shooting is one way to handle things. But yeah, there's definitely. Yeah, it's still taking a little bit. Yeah, it's been pretty standard so far. Yeah, it's just been pretty standard. No score has been made. And a little bit of stuff being shoved. Apparently. Yeah, there's just not much to bring up here. Oh wow, look at that crowd. But seriously though, are they not? There's no way attendance is part of why they're struggling. Couldn't be it. Unless they're not promoting that much. But yeah. And commentators are just sharing stories and stuff. I mean, can you really blame them with this being their final home game before they suspend operations? But yeah, they're trying to. Heartlanders are trying to put up a fight here. They're not gonna let the Bison and dominate that fast. Oh tornado warnings. Yeah, there definitely have been tornado warnings. But yeah, we'll be keeping track, see if there's any scores that come up, which I probably should have fixed this to. There we go. Got it. Now I can see where to actually show and not show things. There we go. Well, apparently there's some stuff going on at the bench. So now they're starting to show penalty things. But they might have gotten a penalty against Heartlanders for too many men. Yeah, they got Isla on a bench minor for too many men on the ice. So Matthew Argentina is going to be serving the penalty. Matt, I wonder how unfortunate he has to be to have your last name be something to do with a country. So what's your name? Argentina. Uh, that's the country you're from? No, that's my name. It's Argentina. That's pretty much the main thing. Yeah, it's definitely been a typical game. As time winds down on this penalty here, the Bison struggling, and there's the goal. And that's the first strike. And that will end the power play as well. The Bison already managing to get on the board. It's going to be to Grant Porter. And seems like the Bison still wants to make their way into the playoffs. Yeah, it can't be easy having to bounce between this and then playing our nights. But yeah, the Bison are still trying to find their way through. Yeah, they're mentioning the fold. It'll be a fold. Yeah, it's still kind of crazy. Yeah, they're just doing a little dance and dance and dance. So, the Bison are the ones that are able to actually try to do stuff. Also, their scorebook alignment is more akin to that of what you would find in soccer, where the home team is displayed on the left side of the thing. Ain't easy trying to go back and forth. I mean, there's pretty much less than 4 minutes to go overall. And that failed to get its way in. Iowa can't seem to figure out how to get a puck in it still. And little conversation. Yeah, they're definitely trying to prevent much scoring. I was trying to prevent much scoring from occurring on the end of the Bison. Because he's seen what the Bison can do. Definitely some issues. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep track when I'm trying to focus on two things like this. Yeah, that's a good point. The puck going into the stands might be a souvenir for it'll be the last time. Yeah, you gotta wonder what the future for Iowa is gonna be. And there's a goal right there for the Heartlanders. It's a tied game here. With 2 minutes to go, it's going to be Cameron Butler who nails it into the net to tie up. And they're going to, there were some players there ready to capitalize on a turnover in the neutral zone. And 2 minutes to go. They're still showing the replay when they should be showing the action. So now they're going to cut back to the action. Just crazy stuff. And now we hit the final minutes. Don winds down his first period. Gonna, and it's looking that's gonna be how this first period comes to an end. That is a miss on the part of the Bison. Despite that turnover, they couldn't capitalize on it. And that's how the first period will come to an end. Tied at 1 apiece. And they're gonna go on intermission. I'm gonna go on intermission, and now basically me will be back. Oof. I had to get me a bottle of water because it's pretty much hit that time. Or I need to take some energy pills. Is that a dual C Zamboni? They make those? I know they have fan Zams. I know they're doing all kinds of thank yous. Because they know ahead of time that they're gonna be out of the job after the season. At least when they announced it at the timing that they did, gives them time to get new jobs. Oh, it was elsewhere. But yeah, I can just focus a little bit on this particular game here. They're of course showing ass. I don't know if it picked up anything from this or not. Jeez, didn't think it'd be that sensitive. I think they're just going through some of the standards right now. Yeah, I can tell that somebody likes explosives. What was that about? Travel delay for somebody? That man, the Railers definitely had to get back. They're taking it again this season. Yeah, kind of funny. Some else that had happening for the Railers. Like, apparently there was some sort of jersey issue. Led to the game started half an hour late. Where they had a they apparently wearing the jerseys inside out or something. But they kept going. They were able to play with regular jerseys. Like, that is quite funny. What what a way for the Railers, ain't it? Just yeah, that whole sequence was funny. But I think they are probably about to come back for period number 2. So be about time for me to drop that up. But yeah, there they are. Coming back out for period number 2. Yeah, it's just funny to me. Really, a movie called Get Out is possible thanks to Emoji Movie. By the way, second period is underway. Just playing crazy things. Well, there's a goal right there for you. It's gonna come from the hands of the Bison. Right through the legs. And it's Patrick Lindar. Getting it through the legs of Wutzky. Oh no, definitely not the start that Heartlanders wanted. Yes, it's definitely been one of those kinds of games. Oh man, that was so close for a goal for the Heartlanders. They almost went in for them. But McKay is able to stop it. And there was some collision there. Bison not able to not able to extend their lead, and now there's more collision on the opposite side. As the Bison looking to try to extend their lead. There was a lineup change for the Bison, I think. Maybe multiple. Trying to figure out. Yeah, it's not easy trying to figure stuff out. Yeah, never. Gotta make sure I finish this thing up. But yeah, the Heartlanders had to be losing money. We're going to be suspending operations voluntarily for the next season. They will sometimes, in rare cases, allow a team to be suspended for 2 years. But we'll just have to see how that goes. Yeah, gotta shoot it off the crossbar. Apparently, he can do wonders for a team. Maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I pay attention as much as possible. And a lot of chaos going on there in the Bison zone. Oh, but the fuck is not gonna go in. All kinds of bombardment. And it's just not gonna go through. It's gonna have some pushing and shoving in the mix. But it's not gonna amount to much. 13:05 to go in the second period. Oh, wow, man. Yeah, you want to know how that is going for him right now? But yeah, there's been quite the game. Definitely. Definitely quite the game. Yeah, there's just been a game, alright? But crazy how some of this stuff turns out. And it's just been slightly competitive and a little bit physical. And there's the goal. That extends the lead for the Bison. Right there. It's now 3-1. And it's Mark Galinikovas manages to get it in. So now Iowa has quite a bit of work to do. Try to get some spoiling involved. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work for the Bison here. But yeah, 6:21 left in the second period. And let me see if I got time to quickly take this. All right. Yeah, I had the time to do that real quick. Yeah, they're definitely gonna need some help for Heartlanders to actually come back in this. And there are all kinds of things here. But yeah, trying to figure some stuff out here. Remember, if the Bison win this game, that that clinch, that magic number clinch could go up to 77. So we got some stuff to keep track of here. Let's take a look across the league, see how things are going. So if the Fuel lose, it's actually going to remain at 75 for the fourth place spot. Or 76. Yeah, it would actually be 76. But this will be a penalty coming up to to the Bison. And that's where the things are going to stop. It's going to be Jungmin Lee who gets called for the tripping. But yeah, this has definitely been the game for sure. And that Is that in for our goal? No, they're gonna wave it off. So there's some. Looks like that one might end up having to be one that goes into review. Here we go. We apparently had something go on. Players might be getting ready to go at each other's throats at this point. Wonder what's gonna come out of this mess. I think they're just gonna leave it as a no goal. It won't be reviewed. And there's not gonna be a review on that. They're just gonna let play go on. But yeah, that's it for the penalty. We almost had some beef thing. We almost had a little bit of beefing that went on. Just been all crazy stuff. Another one I just missed. Yeah, and it's just been. I think I've gone through enough of this. I think I managed to go through enough of this stuff here for the. Yeah, that's it for period number 2. It's 3-1 Bison after 2. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting bunch. Yeah, I think I played enough of that. Our night's game for one time. But let's be honest here. It has been quite rough. Quite rough. But yeah, they're just going through intermission stuff right now. I don't get much to talk about with that. Unless it's. Who knows? Trying to make sure that it doesn't get picked up much. I can't prevent it if it decides to be stupidly loud for no reason. I can't help that much. Because that is the fault of the people who put these ads on there. I hate how this can be at times. Sorry for me to think of anything. I try to keep that stuff from ending up being picked up by the mic, but for some reason they thought it was a good idea to, despite lowering the volume, to make it as loud as possible. And there are so many of them at the back like this. No, I don't want to go through the reels right now. Well, apparently, the LaMelo Ball only got fined a total of $60,000. No suspension. Okay. No suspension for anything he did. Just fines. And we're talking about a variety of things right now. Oh yeah, the NBA started their rounds of playoff technically. Where's Clippers in pregame right now? They're set to start in a few minutes. Meanwhile, the Magic and the 76ers are fighting for the 7th seed in the bracket. Winner between Magic and 76ers gets a date for an ass beating with the Celtics. Loser has to face the Hornets for a shot at being destroyed by the Pistons. Meanwhile, the Trailblazers have already clinched a spot to take on the Spurs. Whereas Clippers Warriors play tonight. Winner has to face the Suns, loser is out. But it is soon to be about the third period. So it's 2 goals to force a tie. This is pretty much going to be an important period. They're going to come out of tunnels in a moment. Yep, there they are. Yeah, they've been sharing stories throughout this game about their commentating journeys. These around here. Yeah, thanks for mentioning the sushi rolls for the Kelly Cup playoffs. I have yet to try actual sushi, for the record. I have yet to try actual sushi. Wow. Wow, that's actually something. Yeah, the Bloomington Bison. Something to do with Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, because Illinois is one of the states that claims Lincoln. That Lincoln is most synonymous with Illinois. Yeah, he was born in Kentucky. Don't tell Indiana. They tried to claim him as well, but really, his birthplace was Kentucky, in the place that was most synonymous. It was Illinois. And they called an offsides there. Jeez. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. You know what? I'm about to get married. Let's have the honeymoon take place during the Kelly Cup playoffs. Let's see. Maybe Fort Wayne? Think it could be a good matchup? Oh, no, we're about to go to Toledo. All kinds of good things happen in Toledo. Sorry, I had to. But yeah, the final home game potentially e- e- ever, depending on how things go. So yeah, this game that they that'd be a tough one. But, yeah, it's getting hard to keep track of a few things. Oh, that is quite the idea right there. Like, you know what? Yeah, let's just go join a bunch of other teams' broadcast networks. Say, hey, we remember that guy. Yeah, let's just crash in on the Iceman because they just signed a former Heartlander. And their endless cycle of endless players coming and going. See, oh, hey guys, remember Wutzky? Yeah, he just signed a goalie deal with the Heisman. Could you imagine? And if they fell through that idea and they just bombarded Arlie with on one of those. Yeah, that's a good point to make there. Yeah, I think Wheeling's gonna be going back to the Central after this season to make room for the Ironhawks. If they care, because leagues like to be symmetrical, if you can believe it. But I I do think the ECHL should change how they handle certain scheduling opponents, especially when they hit that 32 threshold. If I'm not mistaken, the way it would work for next season, one team one team voluntarily leaves for a bit, one team joins for it to still remain at 30. And the Heartlanders survive in whatever shape or form they end up being in, it will go from 30 to 32 in 27. And I think that was just a score right there. Cameron Butler gets the second goal. Get it down to the deficit is down to 1. Taking advantage of a broken play. Cameron Butler gets his second goal of the night. I gotta wonder how how they're going to try and tie it up. Geez, they got Blink 182, huh? We'll see if the Heartlanders can score that third goal, well, to tie things up. Changing around the assists sounds accurate, don't you think? Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with everything. When I'm bouncing back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, time winding down for regulation. Yeah, it's going to take about a year to find out what the future of the Heartlanders is going to be. What I probably should be doing is keeping track of. So, Fuel Comets did go to overtime, which means the threshold will be at, which means, which I believe means threshold will be at 77 to clinch. eh, if the Bison win. And this is the last game of the night. That's still going on right now. So if you'll win in with 76 points, they just completed a game for point number 76. Well, 77. I mean, 77 points for the Fuel if the Bison win at a threshold of 77. It's just going to come down to this, how this game progresses. Jeez. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit for these final spots to be clinched. Now, I'm not sure if the Fuel will have tiebreaker or not. I'll be able to know for sure when the standings are updated in the app. But the main concerns are with the Cyclones and the Wings. And that's it! It's a tie game! Luke Mobley, who nails it in. This game's tied. So now we'll see who ends up getting goal number 4 for their team. Because now there's a chance this one can go into overtime to which we did already have an overtime game this month. The Pirates managed to set themselves up to to ensure that fourth place spot in the South over this past weekend. If they hadn't won the game they won, they will have tried again against the Gladiators, which they were able to do so in overtime. This one is more about playing spoiler. Try to wreck some chances. And this is going to be a game that comes down to the wire. As far as tie games, as far as close games like this go, the tied ones always come down to who breaks first or who bends too much. And we have yet to go into a shootout. That's the crazy thing. This entire season, we have yet to see a shootout. And they're not really doing much to drain the clock. Extreme Arena. Going out on some fun. Another person, yeah, gotta be better than Mark Sanchez in the commentary booth. Because he sure forgot about what he needed to do as a commentator off it. Well, you say that, but you forget that there's Early and Raider. Because Raider still pops up from time to time. And it was a wide. I think they're going to call a high stick. But nobody's going to get an actual high stick penalty. There are some kinds of high sticks that they'll call that ends the play and just resets. Everyone's gathering up and trying to find momentum wherever they can get. With the timer just dwindling down into the final 2 minutes of regulation. But yeah, nobody's managing to get a puck in the net right now. For the being a tie game, nobody wants to be the stupid one in terms of their goalie. And we get things winding down and down and down as we enter the final minute of regulation. And that is going to be covered up. 47 and a half seconds left of regulation. And there's just unwinding. Both sides are Hoping to end it right here. And that's an icing call. So it was a little bit of miscommunication that led to the icing. Not a single penalty call this period. And it's looking like it will end up being like that. And that's gonna do it for regulation. It will be an overtime game. This is the second straight one that's going to overtime. The magic number has now risen to 76. Oh yeah, it's also 3-on-3. I think this is more of what they were expecting out of this. And here's the Bison looking to shoot it in. That's the end of the game right there. No time wasted. That's how the game ends. Not even 30 seconds in, and it's Denny Gore who gets it in. That was a quick one. So it will be 77 points. That's the number. So this is how it ends. The main concerns are the Wings and the Cyclones, as they both are on the verge of facing elimination here. So The Wings are now 3 games away from elimination. Well, 3 points away from elimination. Whereas the Cyclones are 2 points away. So this game ends in overtime, but unfortunately for the Heartlanders, this also means that their tenure at Extreme Arena ends on a whimper. We got one more hockey game this regular season before the playoffs. We'll be wrapping up the Gargoyles season on Friday. And then next week we start on the playoff run for the Pirates. But thank you all so much for tuning in to this last change thing here, and until next time, travel safely.